I think last of our student coalition partner speakers, we have Daniel Tehan.
Can we do this next one? I'm so tired. Is it recording? Yeah,
I'll keep this brief. I think there are a lot of voices here that are more important, probably going to be more eloquent than I. But I'm here as a representative of Students for Prison Education Reform. I'm also a member of the Princeton Progressive magazine. I guess something I've noticed as a member of both of those groups is that there are a lot of people on this campus who care about the iniquities both in our society and others. And sometimes it's hard to realize what to focus on. But there are really a lot, as everyone has been pointing out, a lot of similarities and intersections between the causes that we care about. And just to speak a little bit to the cause that I care about deeply, which is criminal justice in the United States, there's a long history that I think kind of intersects interestingly with the occupation, in that both in prisons in the United States and in the occupation in the West Bank, you see what is essentially the result of a long and complicated conflict. In the United States, it's a conflict that's largely racial and social, and in Israel and the West Bank, there's a similar racial, religious history. And in both situations, you have very complex political, racial, historical tensions, and sometimes the conversations that we have lose the nuance of those tensions. But the thing that we have to focus on is that there are real consequences being borne out, despite how they came about. And when you look at the criminal justice system in the U.S., that's something that is unequivocally wrong. And when you look at the occupation in the West Bank, I think that is something that's similarly unequivocally wrong. So I don't think that we should let the complication and the nuance in any of these issues stop or stand in the way of our ability to advocate loudly against the real harms that are being done. And I think we try to do that both in the U.S. with the criminal justice system, and I think it's really important that we continue to do that with Princeton DivestFest in the West Bank. So I'll read just a short statement that was prepared by some of the leadership of SPEAR. So as members of Students for Prison Education and Reform, we focus our efforts on understanding and reforming the unjust laws, courts, and prisons that we have in this country. Our work around the criminal justice system is grounded in an opposition to oppression in all of its forms. The occupation of the West Bank and the siege of Gaza is a pressing moral concern and a clear instance of this kind of oppression. A key component of the occupation's infrastructure is the inequitable criminal justice systems in the occupied territories. To give just a few examples, Palestinians in the West Bank are tried in military courts, which have a 99.74% conviction rate. An average of nearly 200 Palestinian children are detained every month in the Israeli prison service, and Palestinians are held with fewer rights and for disproportionately lengthy periods of time before being tried when compared with the citizens of Israel. So for those reasons and many more, we joined the Princeton Divest Coalition, and that calling on the university to divest from companies benefiting from the occupation. And I guess that also gets off another point that needs to be made, which is that a lot of the very same problems that we see in the U.S., whether it be solitary confinement, whether it be indefinite detention, happen in the occupied territories. And I really exhort anyone who cares about the issues here at home to also bring that same level of care and advocacy to this movement. Thank you.